sorry,
Hi,
sorry for the late start. My
totally,
computer.
totally fine. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much for talking. I actually sent you a message before because I didn't realize that we were going to be doing interviews
Oh,
for the thing. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. The
you're
rock
so
bit.
welcome. What time is it out there?
It's 5:30 a.m. over here.
Oh, well, cheerio, babe. Have you had your coffee yet?
Just got it now. So yeah, it's wonderful to speak to you. I've got a confession I must admit to make. When I was a little bit younger than today, you were one of only three people I had a poster of on my bedroom wall.
Oh, I'm so flattered. Thank you so much. I hope that you're going to mention that in the interview.
Oh, certainly, certainly. Yeah. So, for me, I've never actually saw Femme Fatale live. It's so it's wonderful to that we're actually getting you over.
Can you believe this? It's so amazing, right? Life is just full of surprises.
It is, it is. What I do remember being queued up many years ago outside a place where I'm from, called Nottingham Rock City.
I played there. I
Yeah.
played there. I absolutely did. As a matter of fact, the promoter, I was just in London for Valentine's Day, and there is a bar called Sidebar, I believe, in
Oh yeah, yeah.
Birmingham.
Yeah.
Yes, and I reached out to Sidebar because I flew out there with Tony West from the band Blacklist Union,
Mm.
and I was performing in London before Gilby Clarke with Guns to Roses. And so, since Tony was with me, I was like, he should probably sing somewhere too. So I reached out to the club, and it was the promoter that had put on that Nottingham show.
Cool.
How
Yeah.
crazy is that?
Yeah, it's one of what it was one of my favorite albums of the era, your debut.
Thank
But many years later, in fact, only I think last year, um, I got hold of the second album, or at least what was to become the second album.
Yeah,
FNA Records put it
F&A
out.
record. Yes. What did you think of that? Did you like it? I mean, there were some gems on there for sure, but it was really that was demos. Like it wasn't a
Mm.
full like production album. It was demos that I had been carrying with me, and then F&A and I made a deal to release them. But it wasn't a produced album per se. But it was, some really good tracks. What did you think?
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it sounded really good. I mean, I could see where it was going for like a second album, and yeah, I got a signed copy, so that was pretty cool.
That's cool. Yeah, oh, that's cool. Thank you. Yeah, one of my favorite tracks on that album is Lady in Waiting. I love
Mm,
that.
yeah,
Um, I wrote um, a song with Wes Arkeen. Gosh, I can't even remember the title of it right now, but Nobody's Girl, Nobody's Fool, got some chips in my jewelry, but I'm still a jewel.
mm.
Oh, it's called I Know. I wrote that with Wes Arkeen, who was considered the sixth member of Guns N'
Guns N'
Roses back
Roses.
in the
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
Yeah. So, cool. Well, that's good to know.
It's pretty cool. It's a great band, Femme Fatale. I loved them back in the day. I mean, it was I guess, quite a short life originally for the band. What do you remember most about those days?
Oh my gosh. Well, coming to LA from a small
Mm.
town like Albuquerque, New Mexico, I mean, I
Mm.
couldn't wait to get to Hollywood. And but I will say I did get to Hollywood, lasted a couple of months, and then went back home. Not with my tail between my legs or anything, but just like it was overwhelming to be in Hollywood and be in LA. And it was frustrating because I was trying to put a band together there and not having good luck. So I did go back to Albuquerque. I went back home, but once you've been in Hollywood and tasted Hollywood in the big city, you can't go back home. At least I couldn't. And I think that most people feel that way. Once I got back home, I was like, what the F am I doing here? It just doesn't, it just, I was too big for the town at that point. And it's not that I had accomplished anything, Uh, but I guess I had accomplished just that. I got out of Albuquerque and went and tasted a different life. But coming back, I couldn't hang with that anymore. I did feel not necessarily like a big fish in a little pond, but I just couldn't go with the lifestyle anymore. It was just too quiet, too peaceful, too like, what am I supposed to do now? Get married and have kids? So that wasn't in my cards. So I went back to LA, and that's when I made things happen.
Yeah, I mean that first album, things like Waiting for the Big One, stuff like that. They were beautifully written songs. They were ones that, at least for me, it was all part of the music that defined that era. And then all of a sudden, it seemed after that record was released, things went quiet. What sort of like happened behind the scenes with the band?
Sure, I can tell you, and I haven't talked about this too much,
Hmm.
but basically, you know, we had this great tour with Cheap Trick,
Yeah.
videos on MTV, doing all of that. I mean, it was amazing. And then we went back in to do our second record, and they weren't happy with the demos that on F&A records that you
Mm.
listen to. They weren't happy with those. Now, I will say, back then, I didn't understand a hit song. I didn't understand the concept of we have to have a hit song. I didn't know what that meant really. And so for me, rocking and rolling and being on stage and performing our songs, whether they were hits or not, that
Mm.
just wasn't on my radar to produce a hit song. I didn't know that that's what the game was. I didn't know that that's what the record company wanted. I just thought they wanted a great performing rock and roll band that kicked ass, and that's exactly what we were. Um, so I guess, I just will say that they were some of the greatest times of my life. I mean, I did set out to Hollywood to make something happen. I did get a record deal. It was short-lived, but at the same time, for a lot of people, that album made a lot of impact.
Mm.
Like you said, great written songs. The live performance was over the top. I'm to the bone. I'm a performer. I'm a singer, but I'm really an entertainer. I'm a performer. And I think that that's something that even in my everyday life away from the stage, I mean, I'm always on a stage. I'm always performing every day. Going to Starbucks is a performance for me. So, I think I forgot the question.
No, that's okay. I was just wondering, it seemed like you were there. I mean, in the days before social media, especially, you were there, you were big in the UK. You were on music programs all the time and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, it seemed a very quick disappearance, if you like.
Yes, and that was what I was going to say. I haven't talked about this a lot, but
Mm.
behind the scenes of what was going on is that, there the label talked about hit songs,
Mm.
and then we were a certain type of band, and then that caused some conflict internally. The label wanted to keep me as an artist. They didn't at that point. They were okay to let Femme Fatale go away, but they wanted to keep me as a recording artist, which I could have done. Um, but in the end, they were going to tack on all of the bills from Femme Fatale, the videos and all of that on me
Mm.
instead of a clean slate. And my manager, Howard Kaufman, at the time, didn't want to do that deal. So we set out to do a solo deal on my own to try to secure something for myself. But again, there was some strife in the band. The band really wanted to stay super, super heavy. And I'm a rock and roll singer for sure. But
Mm.
there's a lot of different nuances to me. I mean, you can hear that on the new music, Bad Love, that was released last year, and Living Like There's No Tomorrow that was
Yeah.
released
Yeah.
last year. I'm a rock singer, but I'm not a metal singer. I'm not that. I'm a singer. So that caused a lot of issues with the band. They really wanted to stay heavy, and I wanted to go more melodic and just maybe more of what the label was hoping in the beginning. I'm not really sure, but yeah, it was time to call it a day with them. And again, we set out to do a solo deal. I worked with Mike Flink on a development deal. We were going to go in and record a song called Buried Alive with the Guns N' Roses boys.
Oh, wow.
And then we were taking meetings, etc. And then the wheels just kind of fell off. My co-manager, Andrea, got very ill with cancer, and that just kind of it imploded everything at that point. It was really all about her health, and it felt icky to continue obsessing about my career at that time, to be quite honest with you. It didn't sit well with me. And so yeah, just lots of changes in my life is basically what happened at
Yeah.
that point.
And then, of course, the music scene changed dramatically as
Of
well,
course.
which sort of threw us all. I mean, I always find that an interesting thing because we're all still out there. All the people who love 80s rock, we're all still out there. We're all still listening to it. And yet the industry decided that things were going to change.
Exactly.
It's
The
a crazy
industry
thing.
shifted. Yes, so everything shifted to that type of music. And then there was no place for Femme Fatale, you
Mm.
know. Although again, I could have remained, I could have become a solo artist and gone that route. And you know, who's to know what would have happened? But
Mm.
I could have been writing and performing all of that time that all of that was going on with the Seattle scene, etc. But you know, the good news is that I'm here now
Yeah,
and I'm not
exactly.
going anywhere forever. And
Mm.
rock and roll is what I do.
Oh
So
no,
life is
yeah.
good.
I mean, the fantastic thing was that you did come back and came back with a vengeance. I think around about 2011, it must be the Femme Fatale came back with you uh, uh, in front, and then a few years later, you got invited to front one of the other, I guess, iconic bands of the era, Vixen.
Yeah, that was a great time. I mean, I was really excited to get the call. It was a great run I had with the girls. I always thought that they were great, for sure. I mean, I didn't know them back in the day. I wish
Mm.
that we would have been friends. I don't,
Mm.
you know, our camps just never collided, if you will. But I never knew those girls back in the day. And I wish that I would have because, you know, I hate to say that the industry is so male dominated, but it really is, and it was, and it would have been nice to have some camaraderie with some female artists back in the day. There just wasn't that. It was just me and the boys. But at the end of the day, I do love to be the only girl in the room. So you know, I love the affection, I love the attention, I love it. And so you know, it made sense to be the only girl in the room, and that's just how it was. But yeah, I didn't know those girls back in the day, but it was exciting to get that call and to front that band for 5.5, almost 6 years. We did some amazing shows together. We had some great times together. But the beauty of my life is that now I am back
Yeah,
to Lorraine Lewis, Femme Fatale, which is my dream from the beginning is being what I want to do, being who I am and doing what I want to do. And I get to do that again in this lifetime is magic, you know, to
yeah.
be able to record and release music. Like that's a gift. That's an amazing gift. And I am grateful and honored and grateful to Steve Brown for basically helping open the door for all of that coming, you know, us having a conversation and him asking, you know, saying, you know, do you want to make a record? That was after he came off of all of the success of Ace Frehley and 10,000 volts. And, you know, I owe a lot to Steve for believing in me. And, you know, he says he always has. He said, you know, in the beginning, he was a big fan of me back in the day. He says he remember seeing me at a convention. It was the Concrete Marketing Convention. And he was just like, in awe, and like he didn't come and even talk to me. He said he was just like so like she's untouchable kind of a thing. So it's great to be able to call Steve my friend after all these years. We were label mates on
Yeah.
MCA, and he's done a great job with my music and helped me so much, so much.
That's
I love our friendship.
that's so cool that you get to see Steve as a fan. Steve's a lovely guy. I've talked to him a few times over the years, and I love his songwriting, and I think it worked beautifully well there with Ace, and I know that there's going to be huge things with that combination for you as well. So give us an idea of when we might get that new music.
Well, so last year we did release Bad Love
Yeah.
and Living Like There's No Tomorrow with two videos. We have 7 tracks that are done. By the
Mm.
end of the year, you'll get a full album, I believe. We're trying to release things as often as
Mm.
possible, every couple of months, a video and a new song. But we've got music ready to go. I will say that we re-recorded Falling In and Out of Love. The label wanted that and re-recorded Waiting for the Big One. So those 2 songs are going to be coming out and they're done. Like they're ready to go. I just need to do videos for them. So those are coming out. They're badass. I can't even tell you. Steve rips on the solo in Waiting for the Big One. I'm sorry, in Falling In and Out of
Mm.
Love, and he's just amazing. And so those songs are going to be on the album. And then we have other tracks. I mean, there's a track that we co-wrote with Tommy Henriksen from Alice
Oh, okay.
Cooper called Somebody that is such a catchy effing hook and rockin'. It's so great. And then there's a ballad that's getting mixed and mastered right now called Home is Where the Heart Lives. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. Um, and yeah, I mean, there's just so much music coming. And then one of the most exciting things that's happening very soon, hopefully within the next 5 to 6 weeks, is I'm releasing a duet with an iconic male singer
Oh,
that
wow.
people are just going to go, what the F? It's a great song. We recorded Heroes together by David Bowie. I had originally recorded it with Lou Gramm, and then he decided that he didn't want to release it because he thought too many people had done the song. But I said, well, a male and female have never done
Yeah.
the song. And so, I just kind of took the track back. And then I got another iconic singer to do the track with
Oh.
me. And we're doing a video for that next month.
Oh,
So
it's killing me waiting. The
I
anticipation of
know,
who it's going to be. There's a
I know.
wonderful version by Blondie of Heroes, and that's my favorite so far. But I can't wait for this one.
Yes,
Um,
it's rocking. Joel Holster plays guitar, Sean McNabb on bass,
oh,
Jason
cool,
Sutter on
cool.
drums, and they did all that stuff in Gilby Clark studio. So yeah, it's a rocking tune.
Yeah, what a great bunch of musicians as well. Sean,
I know I'm so lucky.
yeah,
I mean, Sean and I go way back, but Joel, we've done a couple of things together at NAMM. We've performed together, but you know, I'm just so lucky working with Steve. He brings in so many great musicians I mean, I'm just like, what? You got who? I mean, so it's pretty exciting. But Tommy Henriksen reached out because he knew we were doing a record and he said, I love Lorraine and I've got a track for her. And so we co-wrote it together and it's really great. I cannot wait.
that's brilliant.
Can't
So many great fans coming out and sort of like pitching in. It's wonderful. You mentioned before that you're not this sort of like screamer singer and you've got many nuances as well. And I loved what you did a few years back, well, quite a while back now with the country album, the country record.
Thank you. You heard that. Yes.
Yeah.
There's some of my greatest songwriting is on that. There's a song called Hell of a Woman that I
Yeah,
think
that's
is
fantastic. Yeah.
such a great song. Lyrically and emotionally, it is such a great song. I actually just got chills because that's a really good song. And thank you. Yeah, growing up in Albuquerque, New Mexico,
Mm.
the first band that I was in was called West Wind. So I did Linda Ronstadt covers and kind of had that vibe. I would wear all black with a big black cowboy hat. And that's really where I cut my teeth and got my start in Albuquerque and then, put together a top 40 band and all of that. But yeah, the country stuff. I mean, I love that kind of twangy vibe. And even rocking like Sheryl Crow or
Yeah.
Lucinda
Yeah.
Williams. I love that kind of music. But at the end of the day, I'm a rock and roll girl.
Yeah.
I am rock and MF and roll.
Yeah. We had Lucinda out a little while ago. That was fantastic.
Brilliant,
She was.
brilliant artist.
Let's take it all the way back. I feel like I could talk to you forever. Like there's just so much I want to know. It's wonderful. But what got you inspired in the first place? What sort of stuff were you listening to when you were younger? What started this journey for you?
Well, I wish I had some fabulous story. I was just talking to Tony West the other day about how Tony West from Blacklist Union, and
Yeah.
he saw a poster of David Bowie, and he thought it was a female, and so he was like, who's this girl kind of a thing, and he was told, yeah, that's not a girl, that's David Bowie. So that started his venture into music. Mine isn't quite like that. I mean, the first album that I got was Up, Up and Away by the Fifth Dimension. I loved the artwork. I loved, the African American song group and their great outfits, and that I just was drawn to that. So that's the first album I got. I'd love to say, oh yeah, it was Bowie, but it wasn't. But then, I was in choir and all of that stuff in high school and junior high. And then I did my first band, West Wind, but it was really David Lee Roth all the
Mm,
way.
yeah.
When I saw Van Halen and he came out crotch first, like he does when he walks out and struts. And I just wanted to be that dude. I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be that guy, and that started everything. That's when
Mm,
I moved to Hollywood out of Albuquerque, and I can't say I never looked back because I did move back home after a couple months, just freaked out on the whole Hollywood scene. It was a bit much for me. But then once you go back to a small town after hitting the big city, for me, it was like, this is a no-go. I can
yeah.
never live here. Like, I can't do this. I can't get married now and have children. I have to go back to Hollywood. So that's when I went back, and that's when I basically put the band together by phoning my brother and telling him he was going to be my bass player. And you're going to steal these other two guys from this other band, and you're all coming to LA, and you're going to be my band. And that's really how it happened because I couldn't find musicians in Hollywood
Yeah.
because the 80s were funny. The 80s were, you were either 80s or you were 80s like the Thompson Twins, right? Or those bands, Flock of Seagulls. So there were
Yeah.
two
Like the
different
new
80s.
wave. Yeah.
And so, people would come to the door after putting an ad out, and they'd be like, have that Flock of Seagulls hair. And I'd be like, I can't rock with that shit. To each their own, but I can't do that. That's not the way I'm going. I need some rock gods. And
Yeah.
so my brother was a definite rock god. He played bass in Femme Fatale. And then he got Bobby and Bill from a band called Dirty Blonde, and they
Okay.
were rock gods. So
They
yeah.
were a good band as well. I mean, it's interesting as well that you said Dave Lee Roth because, of course, Steve's a massive Eddie Van Halen.
Of course. Isn't that
So
funny?
it,
I
it,
mean,
it,
Van Halen paved the way for so many of us.
yeah, it's lining up beautifully. Do we have a couple more minutes? I don't know if you got a next interview, but I think I'm going to overrun slightly.
I do, but we can run over a little bit. We're
Okay.
good.
Okay. Because just two questions that we ask everyone. First time we talk to them, and hopefully the first of many times. Because I've literally hardly touched the questions I wanted to ask you. The first one is, if you could have been a fly on the wall for the creation of any great rock and roll album from the history of time, what would you love to have been seeing made in the studio just to see how the magic happened?
Oh, well, right now, I gotta say Oasis. I'm
Really?
obs I'm obsessed with Oasis. I am obsessed with Liam Gallagher, obsessed with Noel. I just think the songwriting is brilliant. They were bad boys back in the 90s. And they, to me, were Liam is the epitome of a rock star, has a bad reputation, has a bad rap, but he's a rock star. And the songwriting is beautiful. And oh, his voice is effing great. I flew out to London in the summer, July 11th. I saw them in Manchester, their first show after 16 years in their hometown. It was brilliant. And then I saw them again at the Rose Bowl here in LA in September. Yeah, I'm obsessed with Oasis. I would have loved to have been there for the sessions because Liam
Wow.
is such a great singer,
Yeah.
great singer.
Well,
So
don't tell anyone, but that was the last album I was listening to, which is their
I
greatest
listen.
hits.
Yeah, Oasis is great. I listen to Oasis pretty much every effing day. Like
Yeah.
there's something in the frequency, there's something in his voice. I've had to defend Liam at parties, when people are like, oh, those blokes, they're so cocky. And it's like, yeah, I want my rock stars to be cocky. Thank you very much. You know, I think that they're the greatest. And to come back after all this time and be selling out stadiums
Mm.
and now possibly going in to do another record. I mean, they're great. I mean, there's so many bands, of course, but Oasis really resonates with me the last few years, for
Wow.
sure. Yeah,
That surprised me, but yeah, great
I know.
music, as you say. And let's end with an easy one, shall we? What is the meaning of life?
Oh, the meaning of life is, in my opinion, living life to the fullest, living life to the max, putting your foot on the gas and not giving a flip what anybody says about you, just living your truth and who you are. I mean, that's the meaning of life. Having fun, looking at every day like there's opportunity, there's fun, there's wild. There's good times and bad times, but out of the bad times, if you look back, they're really not that bad. If you look at it like you learned something or it was a way to get you to go down a
Mm.
different path. I mean, I can remember the day that I got fired from Vixen, and I can
Mm.
say that was a really rough day. I mean, I was wobbly. I
It
was
was a
physically
huge
wobbly.
surprise. It was it came out of the blue for me.
Came out of the blue. So for me, that was a really wobbly time. Now, looking back, was that hard on me mentally and physically? Yeah, for sure. And I could admit that. However, here we are, it's 2026. I'm
Mm.
coming to Australia to perform. I'm doing my own music. I'm doing what I love to do. I have an album out. I'm releasing a massive single with a massive iconic singer in the next few weeks. Um, I mean, life is delicious.
Mm. It
So that's
is.
all I can say. It's just delicious, and you never know what's around the corner. So for people who want to give up or think that they failed, like you haven't failed, like you just keep going. Failure is only when you give up and you resign and you start just hanging out on the couch every day and doing nothing. That's giving up and that's resigning. There is beauty and bliss and fun and adventure everywhere, and that's how I'm going to live my life. So.
That's fantastic. This has been one of my bucket list interviews. I've always wanted to talk to you, and you're so lovely. I just can't wait to see you live on stage in Melbourne
Thank you. It's going to be
in a
so
few
much
weeks' time.
fun.
Thank
Excellent.
you so much. And I must say as well, you are sounding fantastic. How you've kept that voice so great so long is amazing. It's going to be a wonderful night. I could I don't know where you are on the bill, but I could quite happily leave after your band if it wasn't for the other two fantastic bands that are on there. Of course, I couldn't miss Steve and PJ, but I'll kid with him that I left before he came on.
Well, I hope that you will stay for the whole show, but I'm starting things off. I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm kicking it off, and I am bringing my A game. So those boys better be rocking it with me. Anyway, it's gonna be a blast of a week for sure. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much and safe trip to Australia.
Thank you. And let me get a screen grab and then I can tag you in it. Let's see here. Let's get something cute. And I'll count to three. Get some bouncing boobs here. Okay. One, two, three. Okay. Thank you so much, Mark. Have a great night.
Thanks, Lorraine. You too. Have a great
Talk
one.
soon.
See you.
Okay. Bye.
See you.